So she says, I'm dealing with this guy and he's all I want in a man. But what I did was I cried my heart out to him about my ex and told him how I was so broken. He told me that he would help to fix my broken heart, and he did. After all that, he told me that he has a friend. It's nothing serious, but I just said, okay, I'll accept it. But now my feelings are deeper. And he says the other young lady will never have his heart like she does because of the way she cooks for him and how she cleans. And she's always there. She drops everything when he has a problem and she goes right to him. She's wondering, what should she do? Because she wants to know, what is this friend? What is this friend supposed to be about? And she's wondering, what is he trying to figure out if she's all that he wants? That was very
It was long.
long.
A couple things that didn't make too much sense to me. The fact that she said it's his friend, but it's not serious. So
Right.
why even bring up this friend or this person um, in this relationship? Because that's
Hmm.
just gonna cause a
Right.
wall or a barrier anyway. So this is another obstacle on top of that because of this friend.
Hmm.
So not exactly sure what their situation was before that.
Well, I'm just assuming that they were just friends, because I'm assuming, had just gotten out of a relationship,
Okay.
and so, I guess how you just sit and you talk and you have a friend of the opposite sex and you're crying out your heart, to someone about what's going on and how he hurt her,
Hmm.
and then he said to her, "Well, I can help to fix your broken heart." I think one of the things that we do as ladies, is share so much information, and we are so vulnerable, until any guy can say, you know what, I'm sorry you went through that, and I can help to fix your broken heart. But they see that you're vulnerable.
Right.
So you're actually more willing to start talking to this guy or hanging with this guy or being with him. And you're actually now on the rebound. And it's easier to get into a relationship or get into something with another man.
Right. I had to read this over again. So she's dealing with a guy.
Hmm.
When we met, I cried my heart out to him about the way my ex did me, let him know, blah blah blah, that I was broken. That's the first mistake right there.
Yeah, that's what I just said.
I didn't even really catch that in the beginning, but I had to read it again. But that's the first mistake right there. No guy really wants to hear that as soon as you meet, right? Um, because that makes us Mr. Fix It. You know that puts a responsibility on us. Like, okay, now I got to make up for what he just did. I have to you know play that role as your knight in shining armor. Already on top of that, as you being broken, um, that's unattractive. Well, I'm just speaking for me, unattractive to most guys. And when you say uh, you first met,
Hmm.
that's what I'm getting from the message.
Right,
Like, you,
right.
when you first met in a man, I met when we met, I cried my heart out to him.
Hmm.
Who?
Hmm.
That's not a first meeting or a first date.
Well, it shouldn't be, but you may not like that, and it may very well be unattractive to several men or many men. However, some men thrive right off of that. That's bait right there. Oh, she's vulnerable.
Oh, I mean that's bait,
So
but not to start
that
off a healthy relationship.
not to start off a healthy relationship, and I think that's where it crashed at
Yeah, I
when
think.
it first started.
Yeah,
But I think that he may have seen this as, okay, so she's a candidate for me to just get with somebody right now, because and she could have been cute and she could have had a lot of things going on for herself, but she was vulnerable.
right.
So he went right off of that vulnerability and told her that he would fix her broken heart.
Okay, I mean, but what I'm reading is I'm kind of glad he did say that. He told me that he had a friend. So I don't, like I said, I don't know the situation before. Like, did they meet? Were they trying to? Did they go out on a date? Like, was this on purpose? Were they just friends? And then he mentioned, like, okay, I do have somebody that
Mhm.
I'm talking to. I
Mhm.
mean, that was considerate of him not to
Mhm.
lead her on
Right.
constantly.
Right.
Um,
But
Yeah,
it was in some time that he did say that. I don't think he said it right away. I think he probably knew that she was actually falling for him. Like I said, sometimes I think we, as women, sometimes say a whole bunch. And I know that, because especially when we're hurt and women are emotional, it took me a while before I said anything to you regarding my ex.
right,
You know what I'm
right,
saying? It took a while because I wanted to know, okay, is he, first of all, I didn't even know what was going to become
right,
of
right,
us.
right. But even though I knew the situation, I mean, that wasn't something that you needed to come out and say this happened, this happened, this happened.
Well, you knew that I had been married
Right,
already.
right,
So, but no, I never really came out. You're right, and
right.
told you what all the details and how
Specifically,
my
yeah,
heart was
yeah,
broken, or
right, right, right,
because I wanted to see, okay, is this actually gonna work? Is this somebody who actually cares just for me?
right,
And this is just not gonna be, some type of a,
right.
you know,
Right, you don't want to spill your guts and to the first person that you meet, and you
right,
don't even know the future
right,
of what that holds.
right,
It was funny because um, I didn't even let you in the beginning when we were talking on a lot of the stuff that went on with me, but
right,
that's how I kind of knew that I wanted to be with you because I started telling you stuff that I really didn't have to tell you,
right. You
right? So
did.
in the beginning, it was like, why am I,
Yeah,
telling her this, or why am
yeah,
I sharing this?
yeah.
But it really wasn't in the beginning. It was a few
Right.
years. It might have been a few years after we dated, maybe a year or two, maybe a
No,
year.
no, you told me some stuff, actually, when we really knew we wanted to date.
Right, but we
Maybe
had been
like,
talking for a
yeah,
while.
for
Yeah,
a
it
while,
wasn't
just being
the
for,
first
yeah,
meeting.
yeah,
But to
yeah. Well,
piggyback
you're
off of
right.
that,
We never said anything.
yeah, we never really talked about that. So I knew then. So that's what I'm talking about as far as sharing too much too soon. Getting to know somebody first, or even before um, you feel like you have to say that to somebody when you first meet them. You might want to heal yourself, so
Oh
you're not
God.
constantly
Oh God.
to the next person. Oh, he did me like this. He did me
You
like
are
this, and
so right.
that's not.
You're so
You're
right.
not ready to get into it with somebody if that's the
You're
first
so
thing on your
right.
mind that you're
You're
talking
so
about.
right.
So
You're so right.
I think in general, like I said, I don't know the whole situation, but I think she needs a little bit of time,
Time to heal, and
yeah,
you're
to
right.
heal before she goes off and
I
you
remember
know,
talking to a young lady who had come in my office, and she said, I'm so happy for you. I found out that, you're seeing somebody. And how long did it take? I said, 8 years. Not that I had not gone
right,
to the
right, right,
movies.
right,
I
right,
had, you know what I'm saying? I went to lunch, but nothing ever serious. Nobody I felt like that I should, introduce to my daughter or anything. Because I knew I needed to be healed.
right,
I needed healing. I had to work on myself. I had to rebuild myself, and see. And I think that was her mistake. She went right into how her ex did her, and he said he would fix her broken heart, and she should not have depended on him
right,
to fix her broken
exactly to
heart.
do that.
Although it's easier,
Yeah,
sometimes getting in a relationship with someone else immediately helps you to be able to move on. But now you have to remember what's going to happen if this doesn't work. What are the repercussions of this relationship not working
I don't think it helps them to move on. I think it distracts them from
from that?
moving on.
Okay. Oh,
So you know what I mean. So when you
no,
get
break
in,
that down.
right? Okay. So when you get with somebody, after going through a bad breakup or relationship,
Mhm.
right? You go to the next person
Mhm.
as the rebound.
Mhm.
You're not fully over the last person, but you're getting with this person to distract you from that last person.
Got it.
You understand what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So it's
Got
not.
it.
I don't think moving on to the next person helps you get over the last one. I
Mhm.
think it's a crutch and it cripples you in the long run
Mhm.
because that's a rebound. That's what a
Oh, it
rebound
is
is.
a
You have
rebound.
to
So now, if that like this doesn't work, then now she's like crushed two times.
absolutely. That's what I said. In the long run, it's just going to have a trickle down effect. It's not. It's going to keep happening. The same cycle is going to happen over and over again. So you have to take your time when you're meeting somebody. When you really like somebody, start to know them. Well, figure out if they are
Mhm.
talking to somebody
Mhm.
first, like the
Mhm.
guy said. Like
Mhm.
I respect that. He said, I am talking to
Well,
somebody.
no, I have a
I
friend.
have. Well,
Mhm.
I
And then
guess
I
that's
guess
the
the
same
the
thing,
a
right?
question is what's a friend? When
Right.
you say friend,
What does that
what do
mean?
you
Yeah.
mean?
Yep. Yep. So she meant enough to mention.
Right.
That's what I said in the beginning. Though, who is this person? Because he actually did say, yeah,
And then he said, "Well, she will never have my heart like you have my heart."
yeah. So I'm pretty sure this is a special friend.
It has
This
to
is somebody that
be.
he
Yeah.
was talking to. She won't have his heart like this. this one
Right.
does. So I
It
guess the overall question is he said what she said
was
what is
what
his
should she
plan?
she wants to know, what he's going to do. Well, we can't say what he's going to do, but I can tell her what I would do. In all of my hurting, and feeling heartless and feeling disheartened, I would have to step back. Even though it hurt, I would prefer for me to step back because the more and the longer you're with him, the
Yeah.
harder it's going to be to move on. And now you have two relationships that you have just gotten out of where you feel like you
Right.
have just been walked all over.
Yeah.
I would have to make myself erase the text, say, listen, this is no
Yeah.
good for
She
me.
cook and
It's no
clean
good
for him
for
and
you.
everything.
She cook and clean everything. So she drew him in right away.
Yeah.
But
Pretty
now
serious.
she has to relinquish that and move on and move on.
Yeah. So she said he tells me he loves me. Um, he likes that I cook for him, clean for him when he calls. I'm there no matter what I'm doing, but I'm trying to see what I need to do about his friend. But we do everything together. So what is he trying to figure out? Yeah, that's playing with fire, right? You got somebody else in the mix. You got a triangle going on,
Yeah.
right? So if this person is still there, as I'm reading this now, I'm getting a fuller picture.
Mhm.
This person is still in the picture. So he's saying she won't have my heart like you do. So what is she? That's the side piece. What I mean, what is that? Like, is that the side chick? Is that
I
you
don't
know what I
know.
mean? Like, why you shouldn't tolerate the fact that somebody else may have his heart too. He said like you do.
Right.
He didn't say she don't have my heart.
Right.
You do. He said you don't have. She doesn't have his heart,
For sure. That's what he said.
right?
Yep.
As much. So yeah, this other person, he needs to, or you need to sit down and kind of have a conversation with it. It's so funny because we end the same thing with these episodes with the same thing. You need to sit down and have a conversation, and ask, what is the future with this other person? Pull back from all the cooking and cleaning because you're doing wifely duties,
Wifely
and that's not
duties.
what you need to do right now. Because that's gonna make it even harder
Mhm.
in the long run because you're getting into it as if you guys are married.
Mhm.
That's what married people do.
Mhm.
So, and you have somebody else that you have to figure out what to do with. That shouldn't even be an option.
Right.
So you need to pull back from everything. Figure this thing out before you go any further. I know it's nice and convenient to have somebody, on, with you and to talk to and, to cook for and to clean for or whatever. But at the same time, it's not worth in the long run having a triangle or being inside of or in the middle of the triangle or part of it, really.
I'm with you.
So yeah,
I agree with you. So I think she needs to, like you said, pull back. Well, ask those questions,
right,
but then I will find myself just, pulling back.
right,
I have to love me more than I love what he's doing for me part
for
time.
you. Yeah, exactly.
You get what I'm saying?
Yep.
So that a part time love, nobody wants a part time love. I know I don't, and I definitely don't want to share.
Right.
So
So good luck with that. Whoever this person is, really go back to the drawing board and take a look at yourself at
mhm.
the same time because we mentioned before, maybe before you start talking to someone, as far as how hurt you are, that concerned me too. As far as you, crying your heart out to
Mhm.
him and telling
Mhm.
telling him about how you were done in the past. Most times that leads to, or that's a cause of not being healed
Mhm.
from the last relationship.
Mhm.
So take uh, take note of that. Try to do some self healing within yourself before you go to another
Self
relationship.
healing, go to therapy.
Take a
Yep.
break. Take
Mhm.
just pause for a minute
Mhm.
and try to figure this out because you don't need to keep doing the same routine every day, because it's going to get harder and harder the longer it gets.
And it's not necessarily. Doesn't necessarily mean that every person that you can talk to, you're supposed to be in a
Right,
relationship with.
right.
That doesn't
He
mean
might have
that.
been just a very understanding person,
Just understanding.
a very understanding person.
Yep.
Um,
So we pray for you that you have the strength,
right.
to ask those necessary questions and move on with your life.